Well, we're back with another video this week, and today we're talking about head-turning sillage. Let's talk a moment about sillage.
Okay, what is it really?
If you have sprayed fragrance on, let's say you walk into a room, and then you leave that room, your sillage is the scent that's left floating in the air. You know, a lot of times, sillage causes head turns. You know, someone walks past you, they can smell what you've been wearing, makes them turn their head and say,
gosh, what in the world is he wearing that smells so good? Or what is she wearing? That's amazing.
And it almost makes you turn around and want to follow that person because they smell so good. So that sillage is the smell that's left floating around in the air. So today I'm going to be showing you a few fragrances in my collection that have an absolutely amazing sillage trail and that are, in my experience, guaranteed to turn heads. So let's jump into it. First up on the list, from the house of Nishan, we have 100 Silent Ways. So this fragrance is all about the vanilla. You have some fruits in the top, some peach and mandarin orange, and I think a little bit of tuberose. And then once you move into the mid is when you get kind of a burst of white florals. And in the base, you have some woodsy notes like vetiver and sandalwood. And of course, that heavy dose of vanilla. And one thing I'll say, you know, guys out there, you know, don't be afraid of white floral fragrances. A guy can definitely pull this one off. I mean, this is unisex, but I guess it does lean slightly feminine, but that doesn't mean you can't wear it. I mean, it's a beautiful scent and it does turn heads. I'll give you a little tip though. If you want to give, I don't know, a slight edge of masculinity, I guess, to this fragrance, a good thing to do with 100 Silent Ways is to layer it with another fragrance by Nishan called Hachivat, this guy right here. These two fragrances are amazing on their own, but when you layer them together, it's such a sexy and intoxicating concoction of notes, and they really help to balance each other out, and they complement each other just amazingly well. So I would say give that a shot. You know, they both leave amazing trails on their own, but gosh, layered together, it's just magic. It's heavenly. For me, I'm not so much into layering fragrances, but I saw another reviewer talking about this. I gave it a shot, and yes, it works so well. 100 Silent Ways is an amazing fragrance on its own, and it is a head turner. So if you can, get yourself a sample of 100 Silent Ways by Nishan. All right, guys, next up from the house of Frederick Malle, we have Portrait of a Lady. So this fragrance for me was love at first sniff. It was my first introduction into rose fragrances, and from that point, I was hooked. I absolutely love rose fragrances, and this one is by far one of the best. This is rose and patchouli done extremely well. There's also a bit of like incense or like slight smokiness in here, and it kind of gives it a dark edge. But the rose in here is absolutely gorgeous, and this one, the trail on this, the sillage, is absolutely intoxicating. Such a gorgeous one. It's just a very sexy, dark, and spicy rose that's very well balanced and well refined. Yeah, get your nose on this. And this is another one too, you know, when you look at fragrances and you see the name Portrait of a Lady, you know, men might shy away from that because they're like, oh, this fragrance was made for women, but it can easily be Portrait of a Man. Men can easily pull this one off. It's gorgeous. And, you know, again, fragrances react differently with everyone's body chemistry. So, you know, if a woman wears this, it probably will come off quite feminine. But if a guy wears this, the masculine notes of patchouli will probably really come forward. At least with my skin chemistry, it does. This is a beautiful one. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Portrait of a Lady by Frederick Malle. So I know we're in the fall season now, but I have to talk about this fragrance because it did get some great reactions, and people were always asking me what this fragrance was because of the sillage that it left behind. So next up on the list is Torino 21 by Xtray. This one's definitely a spring and summer banger. So Torino 21 is a bright, fresh, lemony, minty scent that works absolutely well in the spring and summer season. I mean, you can wear this scent any season really, but it really shines in those warmer temperatures. This one leaves an absolutely gorgeous trail as well. In the top, you get that mint and lemon. So once you move into the mid, you get some lavender, blackcurrant, a little bit of jasmine. And then once you go into the base, that lemon and verbena and musk really start to push forward. Georges typically are quite expensive, but in my opinion, this is some magical stuff and definitely worth the price. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Torino 21 by Georges. Next up, from the house of Mason Francis Kirkjohn, we have Gentle Fluidity Silver. So this one was my first purchase from the brand and fell in love with it from first spray. This is kind of like gin and tonic in a bottle. It's very fresh. You really need to enjoy the note of juniper berry, and that's what's kind of giving it that gin and tonic vibe. And this one is surprisingly strong. The sillage on this one is crazy. And not to mention, this is just a room filler in general, but the sillage on this is absolutely gorgeous. This is overall a fresh fragrance, but you know, in those base notes, you do have a little bit of amber and vanilla to give it a slight sweetness. And with this one as well, I have layered it before. I've layered it with Gentle Fluidity Gold. And when you do that, it gives it, I guess, an extra layer of depth and added sweetness. This one's great on its own. I tend to wear it just on its own because I love it that much. But yeah, this one, every time I wear it, someone asks me,
"Hey, Curtis, what are you wearing?"
It's that good. So yeah, if you can, get yourself a sample of Gentle Fluidity Silver by Mason Francis Kirkjohn. Next up, from the house of BDK, we have Pas Ce Soir xtray. This is a newer release from BDK. This is a fruity floral amber fragrance. It has amazing sillage on it. The original Pas Ce Soir definitely pushed, it was unisex, but definitely pushed feminine. With this one, they've added the note of patchouli and cacao, and it's really helped to, you know, while still being, you know, slightly feminine, it's kind of helped to push it more towards the masculine side. It's an easy wear. Definitely don't be afraid of it. If you know about the original Pas Ce Soir and you're like, oh wow, that's too feminine of a fragrance for me to wear, check out the xtray, because you know, men can easily pull this one off. And I've gotten great reactions from this one. Again, this is another just sexy, intoxicating fragrance. You know, you get those fruitier notes in the top and the mid, and then once you start moving into the base, you get some vanilla and patchouli that really start to push forward. The fruitiness definitely lasts the entirety of the fragrance, but those heavier notes like vanilla and patchouli really start to come forward in the dry down. And yeah, it makes for just a beautiful, beautiful scent. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Pas Ce Soir xtray by BDK. And last, but certainly not least, from the house of Nishan, we have Papi Le Fico. So you guys know I love the brand of Nishan. They just have so many unique fragrances in their collection, and Papi Le Fico falls into that brand perfectly. This one was created by one of my favorite perfumers, Dominique Ropion, and he did just a lovely one with this. In the top you get a nice blast of cardamom and citruses. Then when you move into the mid, you get more of an aromatic quality from the lavender. It almost gives off a fougere-like vibe, which I absolutely love. I'm a huge fan of fougères. So this kind of pushes in that direction a little bit. And then as you move into the base, you get some mossy notes. It is so good. Don't sleep on this one, you guys. So there are 4 fragrances in the collection for this specific line from Nishan. So there's Papi Le Fico, Credo, Taro, and maybe it's called Temp Fluo. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, for me, Papi Le Fico and Credo really stood out. So in the future, Credo would probably be a future purchase of mine. And I think Papi Le Fico is one that really hasn't gotten very much hype here in the YouTube fragrance community, but it's definitely well deserved. This is a special one that I absolutely love. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Papi Lafico by Nishan. So that's all I have for today. If you like today's content, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know down in the comment section which fragrances that you have in your collection that give off just beautiful, intoxicating, sexy sillage and make people want to turn those heads. I hope everyone's staying healthy and well, and I'll see you guys in the next video.